All right, welcome back, guys. This is part two of our NFL Power Rankings. Uh, Today, we're going to start at 16, go up to 1, and then afterward, we'll go over some of our dark horses and things like that real quick. I'll go ahead and just kick it off at number 16. The team I'm a lot higher on than most people. I have the Cardinals. I think this will finally be a really good Kyler Murray year. They have a great tight end. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. will take a leap. I just have a lot of faith in that offense developing, and I just think they'll have a good year. I could be wrong, but it's probably the team I'm highest on compared to others.
Yeah, I mean, I think that definitely with um, Marvin Harrison Jr. And then Kyle Murray, I believe that could be a duo that can challenge a lot of other wide receiver quarterback duos here in the near future. For me, I got the Bengals. Yeah, I know this is probably a tough spot because now we're starting to get into um, a little bit tougher of a tier. I know it wasn't all that long ago. You know, they were. It seems like they were in the Super Bowl, or it wasn't all that long ago. They were in the Super Bowl, but they have a lot of great weapons. I just think that a lot of other teams out there just are in a better position and have done more. You know, especially their division. The Ravens.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I have them even lower. So, all right, 15 is where I have the Texans. The Texans are a really good team. They won a couple playoff games. CJ Stroud's good. Some of his wide receivers were hurt for a lot of last year. I think they'll be healthier this year, but overall, I don't think it'll really help them too much. I think they'll be just around what they were last year, and I just don't view that as great. I think uh, they shouldn't have even really won the playoff game they won last year. Um, so yeah, did they win one or two playoff games last year?
Who is that again?
The Texans. They beat the
I don't
Chargers.
remember. I think just one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, mine is the 49ers. When I look at them, man, this is a team that can really take off. But also, I think that their pulse and their ceiling, a lot of times we say is tied to the quarterback position, but I actually think it's tied to the running back position. Christian McCaffrey is such a Swiss Army knife. He can do so many different things, and is an impact home run player. Whether he receives out of the backfield or whether he's running the rock, I just think that his inability to stay healthy long term and his durability is the real question. If he can put together a full season, and we're talking about 2/3 of the season down, and he's healthy, I'm guaranteeing we're talking about them as probably a top 5 to 7 team, in my opinion.
Yeah, they were a really hard team to rank. I'll talk about them in a couple picks whenever they're on my list. Number 14, I have the Chargers. I have a lot of faith in their new coach. Well, kind of new. I mean, he was there last year too. But I have a lot of faith in Harbaugh. I think Justin Herbert is, I don't know, probably a top 5, 6 quarterback in the league. Um, I think the receiver core is not as bad as some people make it out to be. I think it's actually pretty decent. So I just have faith in their offense. Their defense is pretty good too. So I think they have a good game plan. I think they have the talent. I think they'll be a really good team. But I also couldn't put them any higher than 14.
Yeah, and for me, I'm going to go back to the NFC West, and that's going to be the Seahawks. And yeah, I just that's a team that I think losing Pete Carroll damages their ability long term in the season. There's a lot of credibility that was there having Pete Carroll, but I do think that they are probably the second most well. where do I have them again? Let me take a look. I think they are, probably the most talented team in the NFC West currently. No?
I've the Rams high. Remember?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, I do think the Seahawks can have a really good year, though. I just had them a couple spots lower. If you watched the last video, it was actually the last team I talked about in that video. So yeah. Number 13 is where I have the 49ers. Again, like my dad said, I think Christian McCaffrey's health. Uh, Trent Williams is older. You know, they have the best linebacker in the game in Fred Warner. He was playing a lot of last year hurt, so if he's healthy this year, he'll be even better. I mean, they really do have all the pieces. I mean, they have the best tight end in the league. So I really do think they have all the pieces. If they stay healthy, like you said, they can easily be a top five team. I mean, they have the talent, and I think they have the schemes too. I just think they need to stay healthy. That's really their big issue.
Yeah. So my next team is the Vikings. I think that some inconsistency at quarterback, right? They don't have a lockdown.
I think JJ McCarthy, the rookie from last year, but
Yeah.
that didn't play last year, so he's still a rookie. Is starting.
Yeah. I just think that you can't go into a year without a proven quarterback, or at least somebody that's exciting people as a rookie or a freshman quarterback in the pros. And I think that's just going to cost that team a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Number 12, I have the Packers. I know some people are really high on Jordan Love. We just did a fantasy draft. I drafted him in one of the leagues, but I don't think he'll be that good. I think he's going to eventually be a really upper echelon quarterback. He didn't have the best year when he was playing last year. I don't know. I don't have complete faith in him, so that's a big reason they're not a little bit higher. I like their defense. Their receiving core. They got the rookie, and they have a lot of decent receivers, but I don't think they have any like really good receivers, and I think that can be important to have, especially being an upper echelon team. Like whenever you get this high up, everyone has a good number one receiver.
Yeah, my next team is the Broncos. I think that they've just been kind of hanging around the same place here for the last couple of years, not having a lot of movement up or down. It's kind of just where I expect them to be. Uh, yeah, I just I don't get excited, but I also don't get overly down about the Broncos. I don't have a lot to say about it other than it's probably more of a internal lack of excitement for that team.
Yeah. So I do not feel the same way about the Broncos. I'll go over them in a few picks, and I'll talk a little more excitedly about them. We on 11, right?
Yeah.
Okay, number 11, I have the Vikings. I think their system is very quarterback friendly, so I think JJ McCarthy, even if he's not the most talented with the system, and I think he's at least serviceable, I think they'll still be an amazing team. I mean, in my opinion, they have the best wide receiver in the game. Their defense is just always great. And I really do think their offense will still be good. With a rookie quarterback, I knocked them down just maybe a tiny bit lower than I might have them if they had a veteran quarterback that I believed in. But they're still a great team. I mean, at this point, all of these teams are really good. So
Yeah, so mine, the Charger. This is where I would start to say that next echelon is. If we're breaking this into thirds, right? I think the we're starting to get a little bit more in between the wild card exciting teams, and we're starting to push towards those elite teams. And Chargers are right there on the cusp of that. I just think that when I take a look at their team, they're well built. I think they have a great young quarterback, and I think that I think they have an opportunity to kind of take their division by storm. Given the opportunity, that they play the Chiefs twice and see how that pans out.
yeah, number 10, I'm a Steelers fan, but that's where I have the Steelers. I know a lot of people are pretty low on Aaron Rodgers. I watched a lot of Jets games last year. I didn't think he was as bad as people are making it sound, and that's with the Jets, which is always QB hell. I mean, they haven't had a good quarterback in forever, and I don't always blame that on talent. I also think there's just the system and the team in general is just kind of in shambles. I think he'll be much better as a Steeler, and I think the offense can maybe not thrive, but they'll be a competent to maybe even good offense. And the Steelers always have a great defense. So I think 10's a pretty good spot. It might be a little high because I'm a Steelers fan, but
I
we'll see
don't
what happens.
I don't think you're high at all because that's exactly one of the few teams that we kind of have on the level there. I also have the Steelers. I think what you're saying makes sense. We are discarding Aaron Rodgers way too early. I mean, this is a guy just a couple years ago, uh, winning some MVPs. Uh, Great quarterback, always had a low percentage of turnovers to touchdown ratio. You're dealing with a head coach in Mike Tomlin who's known for having a great defense, and you do have some assets on that the Steelers' offensive side.
Pretty sure it's the
Playmakers.
highest paid defense in the NFL.
Really?
Yep.
Is that because one player is drawing all that?
No, not quite. I mean, we also have Jalen Ramsey, Cam Hayward, who wants another extension, even though he just got one last year. Yeah, we have a lot of good defensive players. I don't want to keep naming.
I think the point is that the Steelers could really surprise some people. I think being a top 10 team, you can't really forecast that as being a surprise if you do well. But what I'm saying is Aaron Rodgers can be the difference maker. If he just comes back and has the type of normal season we're used to seeing him have, is going to really elevate that quarterback play.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention the quarterbacks we've had the past few years. I mean, I would even just going off last season, I would still say Aaron Rodgers is far and away better than the Russell Wilson we had, and we were still over 500. I think we'll be a good team, and I will say we do have a hard schedule though because our division is pretty rough. Besides the Browns, but anyways, I'll move on now. That's just my favorite team, so I give him a little bit extra talking time. It'll happen in a few more picks once we talk about the Bucks too, because he's a Bucks fan and I'm partially a Bucks fan. Anyways, number 9. It's a team I'm kind of low on compared to some people. It's the Commanders. I know their defense will be pretty good. I believe in the offense, but I just view every team I have above them as better, and that's really what it comes down to. I think they'll be a great team. I mean, top 10 is still really good, but I just don't have the high tier of faith in them yet. I do think Jane Daniels will have another spectacular year. I don't think he'll have like a sophomore slump or anything. Terry McLaurin, if they pay him, he's been great for I don't know how many years he's been in the league, but he's been great for a while now. I think their defense has some really good pieces. I really don't have anything negative to just say. Just they're a really good team, and yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the Texans here. Obviously, I'll have more to say about that team here in a few minutes. But anyways, so the Texans, I have number 9. Really quarterback position being solidified here in recent years. I think that they have a good secondary. Clearly, I think their defense has the ability to be a strength to them. What I think could be the make or break is the running back position and the health of their running back stable. And so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Number 8 is a team I'm pretty high on in the Broncos. They had the number 1 defense last year. I don't think it'll get any worse. I really believe in Bo Nix. He looked great last year. I mean, near the same level to Jaden Daniels as me. Like in my eyes, Jaden Daniels is better, but not a large gap at all. So I think their offense will improve because I think Bo Nix will improve. They've one of the best offensive lines in the league, and then the best defense in the league. I mean, that's just a recipe for success. That's one of the best all-around teams in the NFL. So I have them at 8, and I could see them making a splash this year.
Yeah, and for me, I'm going to go ahead and go with the Green Bay Packers. I don't have a lot to say about the Packers, other than the Packers historically just a pretty well ran organization, even when they rotate in different coaches and and individuals, they're pretty level. You don't see a lot of spike and a lot of dip with them, and so I think their consistency is gonna pull them through. Be probably finish as a top 10 team.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Number 7 is where I have the Bucks. Uh, I really like this team. I think their offense will continue to be great. I think they have a good defense. Their secondary is still not the best, but I believe that defense will always be good as long as they have Levante David back there, and Vita Vea holding down the trenches. Yeah, I mean, great defense, great offense. One of the best teams in the league. Um, they looked great for the second half of the season last year, and I think they'll just keep going, and they'll be even a little better than they were last year.
Yeah, for me, I got the Bills here, and obviously, I'm gonna talk about the Bucks when they come up, but I have they get a little bit of hometown love, so they're a little bit higher. But anyways, the Bills, and really, I mean, this could be a very very easily top 3 team. What really concerns me is how Josh Allen, very inspirational, great quarterback, but I think he's vulnerable to a big injury based on the way he plays. And so if he goes down, so does that team. So while for a fan, I believe he's very exciting to watch. I think as a coach, and if you're pushing your chips, and if you're a betting person, you have to be a bit scared and account for the risk he's willing to take running the ball. So.
Yeah, I think he kind of rushes how Cam Newton used to. Just that big body style. He's willing to lower his shoulder. For a quarterback, like he said, especially if you're a fantasy team, you really like that. I know his quarterback does that sometimes, and he's not as big as Josh Allen. So
yeah,
I do think there's an injury risk there, but historically he's not a very injury prone player, so I don't believe that'll happen. I mean, any player can get injured though. Number 6, this is a big disconnect between me and my dad. I have the Rams. They were the closest team to beating the Eagles in the playoffs last year. I think Jared Verse can really come out and be a near defensive player of the year. I mean, like type player. I think he'll be that good. His rookie year, he was great. I mean, that offense is just really good as long as Matthew Stafford's healthy. Between Stafford, Puka Nacua, and Devonta Adams, not to mention Kyron Williams, the running back is one of the best in the league. I mean, just outstanding offense. They have some key players on defense. I really believe in that team.
Yeah, for me, for number 5, I have
6.
the 6.
Yep.
Let me see. Oh yeah, I do. I have him as number 6. Number 6 is the Detroit Lions, and last year I think that they were one of those teams that kind of took a lot of people off guard, maybe. Yep. And I think there's no reason to see that they're going to take steps backwards. If anything, I think they're going to overcome some injuries, and continue to move forward. They are in a tough division, but listen, steel sharpens steel. So if you can come out of that division and be I have them as my number 1 team in that division. If they come out of that division as number 1, I mean, they're going to be primed and prepared for the playoffs.
Yeah. Just speaking of the Lions, I have them at number 5. I mean, just pretty much everything he said, I agree with. Their offense is very explosive. I think they might lose a little bit of the explosive plays because they lost Ben Johnson, but I think they still have all the personnel. Jared Goff has played like one of the best quarterbacks in the league for a few years now, but he did have his playoff meltdown. I don't fully believe in him to be a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, but they have so much talent around him that I think they still might be able to pull it out. Very talented team. Their defense, Aiden Hutchinson, when healthy, was on pace to be the Defensive Player of the Year last year. So, I mean, I really do think they have all the pieces. I wish they had a little bit better of a quarterback, but Jared Goff, especially in the regular season, has proven to be top tier. So,
yeah, for sure. I mean, they're so close together. We have them ranked. I agree with everything you just said. For me, number 5, I have Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So as much as I want to keep pushing them up, I think this is where I don't have a lot to stand on to push them up. But here's what I'll say is the positive is when you look at a team and how they're going to finish, you have to look at depth, right? While I think there are some weaknesses maybe in their secondary, especially after you get outside the starters, I do think they have a strong defensive line. They have a very capable offensive line, especially when they get Tristan Wirfs back. And then when we look at the skill positions on the offensive side, if you isolate the quarterback position, which he is a high risk, high reward quarterback, you know, I don't think a lot of teams can look at the wide receiver and the running back room and have the same kind of confidence that Tampa Bay Buccaneers have. And
Yeah, not depth wise for sure.
yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in totality. And so I just think that Evans a little bit older. He might be susceptible to injury. We might be having Godwin back if that happens. Obviously, we have Mbuka that we just drafted, and then Jalen McMillan. Very solid player that came on last year as well. So I feel good about that.
Not to mention the Bucks have 3 good running backs in
TJ Tucker, or is it TJ Tucker? And Tucker.
Trey Tucker, if I'm remembering correctly, who had a monster game last year, and he looks to be doing pretty well. He might even be their running back too. Of course, they have Bucky Irving, who everyone's high on, and then Rachaad White, who is very serviceable.
Yeah, and those last two especially can tote the rock and catch out of the backfield. So, again, I could see them making a leap into a top 3, especially due to depth and if you can get creative on offense and having Baker Mayfield stay healthy. But the same problems I had with Josh Allen, same problems I have with Baker Mayfield, and I'm a Tampa Bay fan. While I love to see it and it's invigorating at the moment, when you look back on it, you're like, man, I kind of wish you didn't go down there and try to block that 300-pound lineman, defense lineman. So anyways, but that's where I have Tampa Bay.
All right, number 4, I have the Bills. Super talented roster. They just can't seem to get over the hump. They've been top, I don't know, probably at least 3 to 5 in everyone's power rankings the past few years. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I hope they can get over the hump, but if they play the Chiefs in the playoffs, I think the Chiefs just have a number, and I don't think they'll get over that. Sometimes that just happens, and if they play any other team, though, I think they're more talented than. I mean, I have them 4th, so I think they're more talented than every team except for 3 in the league. Josh Allen, outstanding player. I wish they had a little bit better of a wide receiver room, but he'll make it work. Their defense is great. They picked up Joey Bosa, who I think if he stays healthy, he can be a very good pickup. So Bills at number 4.
I got the Commanders number 4 for me. Listen, I think I would have them even a little bit higher, except for typically playing in NFL, playing in college, a little bit different, right? You might take the league by storm one year, but we have some really bright defensive-minded coaches, especially when it's centered on the offensive side around really one person making things happen. And I hope it doesn't happen because I liked watching Jayden Daniels play, but I do think it is very possible that we see that the league is able to adapt to his type of playing style, and which will really drag this team down.
Another thing I will say is I'm a little bit worried about injuries with him still. In college, he ran very recklessly. He didn't do it nearly as much last year in the league. So I hope he keeps that IQ to not run recklessly. But with his body type, if he does take big hits, I'd be a little bit worried about an injury. Number 3 is where I have the Chiefs. I mean, just absolute faith in the organization right here. No matter what, if they have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, they'll be near the top of the league. It's really that simple. Not to mention Steve Spagnuolo, who runs some of the best defensive plays I've ever seen in my life. I think he's just like a genius. Some of the blitzes he'll run is just crazy intelligent. They have all the talent. They have the coaching. They have still, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the league. So everything's there. They've consistently made it to the Super Bowl. One thing I will say is I'm hoping for a regular season that's better than his last couple from Patrick Mahomes. If not, he may have actually regressed as a player. I don't think that's happened, but if he has another bad regular season for his standards, then we'll have to really consider that. But still, just one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, so I look at this is the other team that we share in the same position, the Chiefs. I just want to add to it. I kind of look at like the Chiefs, like I did the mid 2000s Patriots. Right? They just have the right mix. They have a quarterback, um, a coach, and an organization all on the same page, all willing to make those small sacrifices better for the team. And you can't really knock on Andy Reid. Everywhere he's gone, he's been successful, especially with his quarterback room. The only person I'd add to that is I do think his safety valve, Travis Kelsey, as he ages and when he rotates out of the league, because I do believe that Travis Kelsey will retire well before Mahomes, and he's going to have to find somebody else that he has that same kind of trust in, especially when you get in the later downs and around the goal line. So I agree with you. The coach, the quarterback, but I think you have to add Travis Kelsey there right now because I haven't seen any proven other person that he has the same kind of confidence in.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention also like Chris Jones, probably the best defensive tackle in the league. I mean, they do have a lot of good pieces. Number two, this is going to be a little controversial, but I have the Super Bowl winning Eagles at number two. Sometimes coming off a championship, some teams get a little bit comfortable, and that can lead to them playing not up to their standards. I also think they did regress a little bit as a team. I think they lost some pieces and they didn't gain quite as much back. Although I do believe they had a good draft. And this number one team, I just view as the most talented team in the league. I'll talk about it in a minute. But I mean, I love the Eagles' defense. They have, I mean, just personnel wise, maybe the most talented defense in the league. They have probably the best offensive line in the league, and they have a really good receiver room. Maybe the best running back in the league. I mean, they have talent. I do think Jalen Hurts is maybe not as high as some people give him credit for because he won a Super Bowl. I think the team is very talented. It's a good system. I do think he's a good player, but he's either just outside the top 10 or towards the bottom of the top 10 when I'm talking about quarterbacks. So I do think that holds them back a little bit because the rest of the top four teams are the top 3 to 4 quarterbacks in the league, and I do view that as the most important position. So
Yeah, so obviously I have that team is going to be higher on the list for me. So who I'm going with now is the Ravens, and I believe basically you're looking at very similar teams, the Ravens and um, oh my God, why am I
Eagles.
drawing in the Eagles, right? I just believe that those teams are both built well. They're built for playoffs. You have mobile quarterbacks. You have quarterbacks that can strike deep with some accuracy. I think they are a little, especially um, Jalen Hurts, a little bit inconsistent with that accuracy. And I think if he continues to go down that route, he's going to keep moving up on the quarterback chart. And then they both have very durable, strong running backs. And I think I grew up in the 80s and 90s era, and I just believe still playoff football is one with good defense and the ability to run the ball. And man, not a lot of teams can do it better than the Ravens.
Yeah, obviously, me and Dad just have number one and two flipped. I have the Ravens at number one. I'm a Steelers fan, so it's a little weird, but I am really high on this Ravens team. Offensively, I think they're pretty much unstoppable. They have the best run game in the NFL between Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. It's virtually impossible to stop. Not to mention, Lamar Jackson is also an incredible uh, thrower at the quarterback position. He's very accurate. He has a deep ball. So I think just offensively, they're nearly impossible to stop. Their defense can struggle at times, but overall, I think it's a talented defense who can pull it together when it's needed. And I have a lot of faith coming into the year with them. I think they'll get over the hump. And I really think that they are my favorite to win it all this year. I think they're the most talented team. Well, them and the Eagles. I might say the Eagles are a little bit more talented, but talented at the talent difference at quarterback makes me choose the Ravens over the Eagles. Yeah, that's really all I got for that.
Yeah, for me, it's obviously the Eagles. And listen, I mean, if I had to say one A, or one A, one B, however you want to say it, these would be the two teams. And I think they're a lot of times interchangeable in my mind, depending on how I feel that day, depending on looking at the injury report, looking to see how they did at practice. Whatever it is very swayable, is my point. The reason I give the edge to the Eagles is because they the Super Bowl, right? So like I give the nod to the team that had just won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson does have a little bit of a history of some playoff struggles, especially compared to his regular season performances. Some people try to deny that, but if you just look at the numbers, it's pretty irrefutable. But he's too talented. Just like I think the same thing with Justin Herbert, although it's obviously very different levels of playoff choking. But whenever you have such talent, you'll get over the hump eventually. It's what happened to Peyton Manning. It took him a while, but he was just so talented that he got over the hump. I think it'll happen with Lamar Jackson this year, and I think the Ravens will win it all. But I agree. Definitely, those are the top two teams in my eyes. Really, the top four are all pretty interchangeable to me. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's top two. I mean, I just think when you look at running back position is kind of where I lean on. I just think that down the stretch, I don't know who I'd rather have hand the ball off to than one of those two. I know that they may not be as explosive as some of these younger players, more versatile players, but given playoff football, I want to feed the rock to Saquon or to Henry. So
yeah. Okay. Now we're just gonna go over a few of our uh, dark
dark, yeah.
horses. So I have three of different levels. My first one that I'll throw out there is the Panthers. I think they could really come out, punch some teams in the mouth. I think they could even sneak into the playoffs. That's how much belief I have in them. Uh, yeah, so that's my first team. How many do you have? Do you have three also?
No, I just really have one, maybe
Okay.
two.
Then I'll go ahead and go again real quick. My next one is the Cardinals. I I really can't even explain it. I just have so much faith in this Cardinals offense that I think they can come out, make the playoffs, and maybe even upset somebody in the first round. I really love that team. I think they'll surprise a lot of people this year. Uh, I very well could be wrong with any of these, and the last one is the one I'm the most confident in. But I really do believe in the Cardinals. I think both the Cardinals and Panthers will come out and surprise some people this year.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pick one from the AFC, one from the NFC. I'll go with the NFC first because it's less of a dark horse than a lot of other teams, and that's the 49ers. I have them ranked in the middle of the pack. Uh, I know that some other people have them ranked higher. They're definitely on the cusp. I think it all has to do with health, and it has to do with the health of one particular player, Christian McCaffrey. If he can stay healthy, this team is going to do big things, and they're going to be disruptive, and they're going to make a strong playoff push. The other one is a little bit more of a dark horse team, and I talked about it last video, and that is Jacksonville Jaguars. I think there was a lot of hype behind Trevor Lawrence when he came in the league. He's underperformed in that. We have lost Liam Cohn from Tampa Bay, and he went there to be a head coach. And I think that wherever he's been, if you look at it, he's kind of he's might have a little Andy Reid in him, right? He might be a little bit of a quarterback whisperer, and he's not afraid to set up an offense around the quarterback and not just have a quarterback try to adapt to that offense. And I think that's going to do good things for that team. And then I think they have some other pieces in place. They have decent run game, and I just think that
Receiving core is really good with Brian Thomas Jr. They drafted Travis Hunter.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think they're going to be in a good spot to shock some teams. Now we might feel that way about the first third of the season, excuse me, and then when they're not in a position to kind of take teams by surprise, we might be looking at that a little bit differently. But I definitely think they have the ability to shake up the landscape.
Yep. I'll just say one more real quick. I did have them top 10. I actually had them 8, but it's the Broncos. I think they are a real Super Bowl contender that nobody really looks at that way. Like I said, number one defense, top 3 offensive line in the league. With Bo Nix improving, it'll be an explosive offense and a lockdown defense. That combination, Kind of similar to the Eagles, except for just a tiny bit less of the top end talent at some positions. But I think they have that recipe going, and they're a real contender that people aren't looking at that way. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, thanks for joining us, and I know I've enjoyed this, and hopefully we
yeah,
can do some similar type videos and continue to do some things here together. Again, it's about us spending time together. Hopefully you watch and enjoy. If not, it's okay.
yeah. Okay, see you guys.
Next time.